your host, Danny Bonsignor, and I am so thankful you are here today. I pray that I can help encourage you to feel, to love, to heal, and to help encourage you to view all of your experiences, your conversations, and interactions all through a lens of love. Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited. I feel like I say this every single episode, but I cannot believe this is already my 4th episode. This is sort of a 2-part episode, so I will be talking about 2 different topics. I had originally just wanted to talk about children magnifying unhealed parts of us, but I was really inspired by a quote I saw the other day that said, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. And man, that was so powerful. You know when you read something and you're just like, dang, that was so good. And how many of us are fearful to start something because we don't feel qualified or because we don't know enough to get started? The farther into this journey that I get, the louder the enemy gets, telling me I'm not good enough, that nobody cares what I have to say, that I am not qualified in X, Y, Z. And this is something I knew was coming and that I have mentally prepared for. When we are headed in the right direction, the enemy hits harder and harder, and it's not always obvious. A lot of times the hits can come in the forms of distraction, and we convince ourselves that the distractions are important, and they might be, but we have to be able to prioritize these matters of importance so that we can make time for what it is we are avoiding. Anytime I want to stress over not knowing what my next episode is going to be, I stop and instead I thank God for always providing me with the wisdom and the words for you to be receptive to the message that I have been called to bring. And I do this with any scenario, shutting down that voice in my head that tells me I'm not capable, and instead praising God and thanking Him for all of the goodness and the growth that is to come. This isn't necessarily what this episode is about, but it felt important, and it's a nice reminder that when you are headed in the right direction, the enemy will hit hard, and you have to be aware enough to notice your habits and to notice which habits are serving you and moving you towards your goal, and which habits are serving as a distraction to keep you comfortable. I encourage you to take a look at your daily habits and bring awareness to the distractions that are not serving you in a positive way. I know that when I was planning on starting this new journey of hosting a podcast, there were so many reasons not to, but I knew that I just had to start, and I couldn't let the what ifs or my feelings of inadequacy keep me from starting. So if you are looking for a sign to start something that has been weighing on your heart, let this be your sign. Go for it. Give yourself grace and know that it can only get better and your craft can only improve from here, but it's never going to get better if you don't give it a chance. Don't let being fearful of not getting it right keep you from starting. Choose to see mistakes as lessons to grow and go into it knowing that it won't be perfect and it isn't meant to be. The enemy wants us to believe that what we have to give isn't enough, that we don't know enough, that we don't have enough experience, that what we bring to the table is not good enough. And I'm here to remind you today that the enemy is a liar and does not have your best intention at heart. So we need to stop giving that voice so much power over our lives. Maybe you are scared of failing because this means something to you, and you are letting fear hold you back because you know what you have been called to do is going to bless you in unthinkable ways, and you don't think you are deserving of the success. God has already gifted you with the tools you need to do what He has called you to do. You just have to take a moment and ask yourself, what can I do, instead of focusing all of your energy on the reasons you can't do something? I can talk about this all day, and there is a shift that happens when we stop focusing on the why we can't and we start focusing on the how we can. It's time to stop giving energy to the negative thoughts and to start saying out loud when a negative thought comes up, stop. I'm not doing this anymore. And instead we say a prayer, or we say affirmations, or we do both. The perspective shift does wonders on our mental health, but also on our lived experiences. The perspective shift also applies to motherhood and how I choose to experience it. What if you turned your impatience into patience, your yelling into understanding, your mundane into joy, your challenges into strengths? We can either let the challenges of parenting drain us or encourage us, and this can be done with changing our mindset. I originally felt called to talk about how becoming a parent can help you to heal the most unhealed parts of you if you allow it to. And what we discussed at the beginning was just something that weighed on my heart. And the two can be connected because we are parents, of course, but our entire life does not revolve around our child. A lot of it, yes, and it should, especially when they are younger, but not all of it. If you are here today, you are taking a step in the right direction. So take a moment to give yourself a pat on the back. When you become a parent, your struggles from before don't just disappear. They can magnify in every way, but you can learn to use this as a strength to heal the most unloved parts of you. Seeing our child's big emotions as moments to strengthen our connection, an opportunity to be for your child what you needed growing up, which could be one of the reasons that your child's big emotions provoke you into reacting in a way you are not proud of, which is likely how the adults around you responded to you when you were the age of your child. I remember after my daughter turned 1, her crying really started to trigger me. It was like my mind decided she's no longer an infant, so there's no reason for incessant crying, and it was really hard for me to handle these moments without feeling like I was losing it. I knew in my gut that my reaction to her emotions was not a her problem. It was a me problem. And I committed to working on the why her cries were triggering me so that I wasn't taking it out on her. Yelling at my child has been a non-negotiable for me. I used to feel uncomfortable talking about this because when you parent in a way that is uncommon for a lot of our society, you can be judged. Do I think you are a bad parent if you yell at your child? Absolutely not. A lot of parents yell at their children, but how does it make you feel after? With enough practice, it is possible to be at your wit's end and not take it out on your child. Some get this preconceived notion that because you don't yell at your child, you think you are better than them. But just because my struggles don't look the same doesn't mean they aren't there. I share this with you to hopefully give you hope. There are many things in motherhood that I struggle with. Yelling just has not been one. From day one, This is something that I have focused on and knew I would not do, and it felt easy until my daughter was not a baby anymore. And then it became something that I had to work on relentlessly in every triggering moment. So if it feels impossible or you think it's not something you are capable of, I'm here to tell you it is possible, and it can be harder for some, but that you can do it. If something is important to us, it is possible for us. I remember I started by naming my emotions out loud and in front of my daughter. I learned that children are more in tune than I originally thought, so pretending to be fine when my daughter could sense otherwise was not something I wanted to do. But reacting out of frustration or anger was also not something I wanted to do. So I started by naming how I was feeling. I am feeling angry. I am not angry at you. I am angry at the situation. It is important to always remind our child that we are not upset with them, which is what they might think if we don't remind them that our feelings are not their fault or because of them. I do not want my daughter taking responsibility for my inability to handle or express my emotions in a healthy way. A lot of times children witness adults being upset, and being upset does not have to be a bad thing. It is not wrong to be upset, but it's not right not to acknowledge the upset and just mask it by saying things like, "I'm fine." It is important to acknowledge these feelings, to acknowledge that we are human, that we feel so many emotions, and this is normal, but that none of this is the fault of our child. Getting angry or upset is not what harms the emotional health of our children. It is what we do with the anger or in the upset. It is possible to be upset without raising our voices at or talking down to those we love. We can be both upset and respectful at the same time. Anger is a normal human emotion, but it is not a reason to treat those we love unkindly. So I start by naming my emotions and acknowledging what I need at the moment. If I am alone with my daughter and leaving for a few moments to center myself isn't an option, I follow it with words of encouragement for myself. Instead of stewing in the anger, I choose to name what I am feeling, such as I am feeling angry and this is okay. Then I name some positive thoughts like I am patient, I am kind, I am capable. I remind myself that this is just a moment and it will pass, that I am a capable person and I can handle anything that comes my way. Should I handle a situation poorly, because I am human and that happens, but I also acknowledge this. Mommy was not very kind when I spoke to you, and I'm going to pay better attention to the words I use. I'm sorry and I love you. What we do after is more important than what we did during. Your child won't remember why you yelled or got upset about what you did, but they will remember that you always acknowledged and apologized. I want my children to grow up and look back and think how no matter what the situation was, no matter what was said, what was done, I want them to think, wow, my mom loves me. And even more than that, she respects me. She sees me. So what work do I need to do on myself to obtain this goal? I have learned to accept things as they come and to never place too much emphasis on any one particular moment. What is to come has already been seen, and it is what is meant for me. I choose to see every experience and interaction that I have with my child as a means to grow, to grow our relationship, to grow in love, to grow in patience, to grow in kindness and understanding. What is meant for you will come, and everything that happens along the way is helping to guide you and shape you so that you can be the person that God is leading you to be. So, when did I notice my reaction starting to change? It started when I was more aware of my reactions and the words I was using and my reason for the reaction I was choosing. Why am I being impatient? Why am I getting angry? What am I worried about? What am I scared of? I started to see the moments I was experiencing differently. Instead of seeing these moments as difficult, I started seeing these moments as situational. That my daughter is always worthy of my love and my kindness, no matter her behavior. Being kind and loving is not equivalent to encouraging negative behavior. Giving your child grace in these moments teaches them to give themselves grace in challenging moments. Beating your child down or shaming them in these moments only teaches them to beat themselves down and to shame themselves in difficult moments later on in life. It's saying, I see that you are upset and you don't like being told no, but I can't allow you to do XYZ. Instead of yelling or escalating the situation, you remain calm and you allow your child to be upset, just like you allow yourself to be upset and not masking it with the old "I'm fine." These moments are opportunities to show my daughter that my love is unconditional and never situational, that she is always worthy of my love, and I will always have room for her big emotions. The moments that feel harder than others, I have found that reminding myself of the kind of mom I want to be out loud over and over until the moment has passed allows me to focus on the good, to focus on the mom I want to be and not the mom I am at this moment. When we don't allow ourselves to feel or express our emotions, they can manifest as physical ailments. And there are so many adults walking around with emotions they were never allowed to feel. This is not something that I want for myself or for my children. Another thing is really honing in on the need and not the action. Have I filled her cup? Is she hurting? Is she tired? What has she eaten that day? Has she gotten outside enough that day? When we focus on the action, such as yelling or hitting, instead of focusing on the need, we miss an opportunity for connection. Instead of showing our child that it is safe for them to express their feelings, we chastise them for the action. We view what they are doing from an adult perspective and not through the eyes of our small child. What if one of the reasons God created the children He did for you was to bring to light the parts of you that needed healing the most? What if all of your triggers were meant to strengthen you? God knows your future. He loves you enough to continue sending lessons your way until you surrender in His love for you. What if you stopped fighting the hard and frustrated moments and instead letting yourself rest in them just for a moment to see what it is that is truly bothering you? What are you so against? Every time we react in the same way to a situation that we are not proud of, we are asking for more situations to cause us to react this way. What if the next time you feel angry or resistant, and instead of focusing on the problem or complaining about the situation, you paused and instead you prayed? God, I am willing to listen to the lesson you are trying to teach me, and I thank you for providing clarity and for never giving up on me, that you see me as worthy enough to not give up on. Thank you for continuing to send me lessons until I am able to see with clear and receiving eyes. Imagine if you prayed as much as you complained. If before you reacted, you asked yourself, is this my ego or my pride? Sometimes for me, it is simply the need to resist, to have felt so little in control for so much of my life that all I could control was whether or not I complied or resisted. So the next time you are in a situation and you notice that this is a reoccurring pattern for you, that when your child does this, it really sets you off, ask yourself why. When we aren't able to process our anger in a healthy way or our frustrations, we take this out on our children or our spouses, and we unknowingly teach our children that this is how you handle these emotions. So if you want it to be, this can end with you. You can look in the mirror. You can ask yourself why you react this way. You can then give yourself grace, and you can extend this grace to your child so that when they are upset, instead of reacting out of anger or frustration, you get down on your knees and you see them for the person they are and not their behavior in the moment. And you respond based on that and not based on their behavior or your feelings of frustration or anger. When we are in control of our own emotions, we can give our children a safe place to learn about their emotions while also modeling to them how to control ourselves and teaching them that we are only in control of ourselves, no matter how anyone else is acting. Every time you do this, every time you give your children grace in moments when you are frustrated, you might discover that this helps you learn to give yourself grace, because you are just as deserving of the same level of kindness and respect as your children. You are just as deserving as the love that you want to give your children. So for the next 2 weeks, just pay attention to when you are most likely to be triggered, what your child does that triggers you, how you respond, and just be aware of how you feel after. A lot of times we aren't aware of the root cause of our upset or why we are responding the way that we are, so awareness is a really good place to start. Healing your heart while raising children is so beautiful. They get to witness you struggling, growing, crying, smiling, laughing, changing, learning, and all while loving them. It's beautiful, and at times it's messy, but rest in the fact that it is the exact journey you were made to go on. You are the exact parent that your child needs. So give yourself grace with how you have handled situations in the past, but also love yourself enough to do better. Not to shame yourself for how you have handled past situations, but to know that today is a really good day to do better. And I think it is such a valuable lesson to your child what humility means, to look at them and say, I didn't know better, but now that I do, I will do things differently. In closing today, I leave you with a prayer that I have and will continue to pray over and over as new challenges present themselves and the Lord continues to do work on my heart. For the next 2 weeks, I want you to try relinquishing control in your more challenging moments and see what God does for you. Lord, I am willing to listen to the lesson you are trying to teach me. And I thank you for providing clarity and for never giving up on me. That you see me as worthy enough to not give up on. Thank you for continuing to send me lessons until I am able to see with clear and receiving eyes.